Hey guys, Joel Atkinson here with Genesis Sports Performance and Physical Therapy, and today I wanted to start a sequence of videos that just kind of are educational to the public and kind of show you and give you insight of what we kind of do here and some of the things we prioritize with our athletes. Let's start with the warming up process. You know, this is obviously catered more to the individual. It kind of depends on a day-by-day basis or a week-by-week or a month-by-month or a year-by-year plan to come up with what's the best proper warm-up for you. But let's talk about soft tissue work first, okay? When I'm talking about soft tissue work, I'm talking about ways of manual therapy, rolling out, or ways of kind of separating bone from muscle and the fascia from the muscle, and getting our muscles just kind of prepared for the day. So whether we're impinged from a strain or an injury or just trying to kind of wake the body up for the day, there's a variety of tools that kind of allow us to kind of get these muscles a little bit more engaged and a little bit more isolated. So I like to prioritize soft tissue work for our athletes for a couple of reasons. Number one being body awareness. You know, I think rolling out, especially the proper way, will really help you isolate certain muscles and understand what they're used for and what you may be doing wrong when using that particular muscle. Secondly, of course, to increase flexibility and range of motion, whether it be at a joint, a ligament, a tendon, or a muscle. We got to have that increased flexion. So a couple of tools, usually for me, start with a lacrosse ball or a dimble ball across the bottom of my foot, trying to get that archway. Then I'll try to put the toes down, go to the heel, kind of side to side, then go back up to the ball of my foot. Just again, a lot of nerve endings ending in your feet, so a good way to kind of get this kinetic chain woken up our whole body. So just kind of starting with the foot. And then what I like to do, especially with kids and those that don't enjoy rolling out as much as I do, maybe for the pain, that nice pain, is we start with the foam roller. Now you can go softer than these black ones. These black ones are a little stiffer. We have different options. You know, they make them with a PVC pipe inside to make it even harder, or a softer cushion for those that like a little milder soft tissue work. So this one, you know, we'll kind of use on the floor in a variety of ways. We'll start with the calf or the Achilles down at the bottom. And here you're going to want to go half side to side. And this brings me to a good point though. When rolling out, there's a lot of positions you can put your body in that aren't necessarily healthy. So like for instance, right now you kind of see that I have some anterior tilt. I'm kind of hyperextending my lumbar spine. So some good ideas when rolling out and prioritizing rolling out is find ways to eliminate being in faulty positions while rolling out. So for me right now, just to kind of help with that position, I'll go side to side, try to focus on sitting upright versus doing that. But I could elevate the leg on top of a bench. I could use it in a different way with a ball or another aid to try to roll this out, or even a hand roll. But you get my point there. Then move up to the hamstrings. Just going side to side or forward and back, you know, just kind of waking it up. But again, if you're trying to isolate one piece or the other, I highly recommend using more of a ball or a pinpointed object. The foam roller is going to get a lot of surface area, but it's not going to really pinpoint what you're trying to target. So again, I like to use it for certain muscle groups. Specifically for me, it's going to be the IT band, as we commonly refer to it, the iliotibial ligament. And so for me, this one's huge, especially for knee and hip flexion. And we can be in a relatively healthy position, as well as this is such a sensitive area that you don't want to go too hard. But again, if you can kind of go side to side down at the base of its attachment or at the top of the attachment as well, this will help again allow you to flex your knee in and out a little better, allow you to bring your knee up a little better because of its attachment at the hip and the knee. It's huge in flexion. So this is a huge one that we necessarily don't feel all the time, but man, when you get on the side of a roller or a ball, you'll definitely feel it. The last kind of body parts that I like to use the foam roller for are definitely the back and the lat. We can be in healthy positions on this, and it can be extremely useful with the foam roller to roll these areas out. So we start with the smaller, the low back, by bringing the heels in, just kind of working at one side or the other, and then kind of focusing on that lumbar spine a little bit. Staying at a tilt, so I'm staying in that smaller area. Again, kind of engaging my core a little bit so it fights back. But now, you know, for me, especially the thoracic spine, because I was an overhead athlete, my thoracic area is always overwhelmed, whether it's the rhomboids, the traps, or or the scapes, I want to open those areas up and free them up and kind of increase their range, especially for how compacted my discs may be. So this is where I'll hug myself, flatten out, and yes, oh, right there, got a couple of pops already, definitely kind of loosening that area up. And now I'm kind of getting into that thoracic / cervical spine area and just flattening out. And again, now I kind of just feel kind of decompressed, you know. So I think when I'm thinking about rolling out, I think about how my body feels so congested. And so when I'm done with this kind of manual therapy or soft tissue work, I feel loose, I feel free, you know, I don't feel so compressed. And so that kind of brings me to more specific rolling techniques, which will incorporate either a ball, a lacrosse ball, or a double peanut spinal ball, or even a barbell. So all these can be very useful, especially when trying to pinpoint or target specific areas, like let's say the pec, or maybe the glute, or the hip flexor, or the front side of the quad, heavier muscle groups, or spaces where you're trying to a little bit pinpoint where you are, and maybe pressure release, and do this through heavy breathing and different techniques. So again, prioritizing rolling out in general is all about kind of catering to the individual's needs and what they may or may not need. And again, I got to hit body awareness. I think the more you can get to know your muscles and how they're supposed to be functioning, it's a huge value to an athlete or a person in general, especially when trying to figure out what went wrong with their body or help prevent injury. So again, some techniques we use here, some things you might find useful, and check them out and give them an idea and give them a try. Give me the last one here. We can either use a barbell in a couple of different ways. We can use it laying down, kind of using that weight of it. For me, I like to do it to isolate the hamstring. So this is again where we'll kind of place it more in a vertical position. And we'll get over top of it with our leg and kind of get in there. I like to pressure hold more than anything, but again, you can use this nice kind of surface of the barbell to roll back and forth and still get that added pressure. Again, it's a harder object, so it's going to get in there a little bit more deep. But again, prioritize rolling out for several reasons, but if nothing else, just to get to know your body, you know, and secondly, you'd be shocked at how much you will prevent injury if you're doing some of these basic techniques for your soft tissue.